social classes mixing together, people from the religious people, secular people, Muslims, Christians. It's a real melting pot, and it's very democratic because anyone has the right to speak. The very fact that they're allowed to speak their minds is seen as an achievement in itself.
Opposition groups are still rejecting offers from the government to negotiate. They want Mubarak out now.
He should hear the clear voice coming from the people and live in dignity.
America seems to agree.
In order for Egypt to have a bright future, which I believe it can have, the only thing that will work is moving an orderly transition process that begins right now.
Minutes away from the military lockdown near Liberation Square, downtown Cairo is bustling. Banks open for the first time in a week, petrol stations stocked. But everyone here knows it's still not business as usual.
It's not easy to keep a mass protest going for 12 days.
People want to feel that normality is back, that it's safe to go about their business, that people can open their shops, people can go to school or whatever. So there is that thirst for normality. And yet there remains this focal point, Tahrir Square, which is completely closed to traffic and is still the epicenter of this protest. It seems that people will go about their normal business during the day, but when it's a day of demonstration, they will go to the square. They may only go for an hour or two, they may go early in the morning, they may go late at night, but the demonstration lives on, but life is going on as well.
There is yet another plea to the occupants of Liberation Square.
The head of the Army's Central Command came to ask them to go home so the country could go back to normal. They chanted back, "We're not leaving, he is."
And another attempt to appease the protesters.
Egyptian TV announces big changes in the ruling party. Gone are the executive committee and the president's son, Gamal Mubarak. But it's the father who's got to go for the demonstrators.
The presidency, though, is still a non-negotiable.
You don't run a country as an autocratic leader for 29 years without being extremely tough, extremely stubborn and a real survivor. You know, he's not going to leave unless he's literally shoved out of the door by those closest to him, like his vice president, Omar Suleiman. This man is a survivor. This man is a fighter. This man wants to secure his place in history. He doesn't want to go down in the history books as a man who ran away or who was chased out by a baying mob. He's going to hang in there really for as long as he can.
It's clear that Egypt will never be the same again.
An uprising on the streets, showing no sign of relenting. Protesters united in their defiance of the regime. As demonstrations continued for a third week, President Mubarak remained unmoved. But how much longer could he ignore the demands of his people and hold on to power? In a day-by-day account, we look at the events that changed Egypt, from those that witnessed them firsthand. Fall of Mubarak, at this time on Al Jazeera.
Business Latest is brought to you by Catalum, the most efficient and environmentally friendly aluminium smelter. Business Latest is brought to you by Catalum, the most efficient and environmentally friendly aluminium smelter.
Afghanistan is faced with a huge challenge.
Relations have gone really sour between us and our allies.
We have inflicted considerable damage on the enemy.
The people who make international headlines.
Ultimately, the truth will out.
They want to stop this publication of information that embarrasses them.
Make time for Sir David Frost. Frost over the world. At this time on Al Jazeera.
The relocation of the Ahmadiyya has magnified the issue of religious intolerance in Indonesia. Is this inevitable in a multicultural society? And is the government turning a blind eye?
101 East at this time on Al Jazeera.
This is Al Jazeera.
Welcome to the News Hour, live from Doha. I'm Imran Garda from Al Jazeera News Centres here in Doha, London and Washington, D.C. These are the main stories. Opposition supporters in Libya pay their respects to the anti-Gaddafi fighters killed in the battle for Breka.
I'm Jane Dutton in Washington, where the US president has had his strongest words yet for the Libyan leader.
It's time for Gaddafi to go.
But Barack Obama also said
I'm Stephen Cole in London with the latest reaction from Europe, including:
if forces under their command and control commit crimes, they could be criminally responsible.
A warning to Gaddafi as the International Criminal Court announces a full investigation into alleged human rights violations in Libya.
6 women are shot dead in Côte d'Ivoire as they march in support of presidential claimant Alassane Ouattara. Egypt gets another new prime minister as Mubarak's man quits. The chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court says he will investigate the Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi for crimes against humanity. Thousands of people are thought to have died after security forces targeted protesters in unrest which began last month. While forces loyal to Gaddafi seem to control large swathes of the western part of the country, the eastern part seems to be out of the leader's reach, despite his attempts to regain control. Well, on Thursday, Gaddafi's forces launched fresh airstrikes on the strategic oil town of Breka, which is held by Gaddafi's opponents. Meanwhile, funerals have been held for the opposition fighters killed in Wednesday's battle. 14 were killed on Wednesday when 2 warplanes dropped bombs on Breka's oil terminal. Anti-government rebels now say they've cleared Breka of government forces. Huda Abdul Hamid is in the city of Benghazi, also in the hands of the opposition. A short while ago, she gave us this update.
There is a hope that the International Criminal Court will go quickly in its investigation and come out with a direct indictment as soon as possible. People would like the International Court to look into a series of what they call massacres of the Libyan people during the entire era of Muammar Gaddafi, not only into what